Thanks for tuning in to another show in the Next Reel family of film podcasts.
Want to skip those ads and get early access?
Become a member at truestory.fm/join and discover all the other great perks that come with it.
Now I say, listen here. The doors are locked. The sermon's hotter than a fox in a henhouse. The choir's mid-amen. And someone has been stabbed plumb through the spirit of Good Friday in Rian Johnson's Wake Up, Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery.
You're the only one on stage with the Monsignor at the time of his killing. You're the only one at that church who hated his guts.
The spirit really moved him today, huh?
So tell me, what the hell happened?
Everyone thinks I did it. I didn't do it.
This goes way beyond normal police work. This is something even I have not experienced. A perfectly impossible crime.
This case is solvable, right?
I'm incapable of not solving a crime. Oh, you'll see. It's fun.
This here picture opens by telling you firmly, confidently, with its whole chest, that what just happened could not have happened. And then it stands there, arms crossed, daring you to argue, set in a rural church where faith, inheritance, and a surplus of extremely sure people all start hollering over one another. Wake Up, Dead Man is a locked room whodunit that keeps saying, pay attention, son, this is important, right before distracting you with something shiny. It's a mystery that treats certainty like a banana peel, cleverness like a loaded weapon, and leaves you wondering whether the crime was the stabbing or everything everyone said afterward. Your guides this month, a pew full of suspects, skeptics, and one rooster who simply refuses to lower his voice. Wink! I'm Pete Wright, and today I'm joined by Steve Sarmento, Mandy Kaplan, and Tommy Metz III to figure out whether Wake Up Dead Man is the most audacious Knives Out yet, or a mystery that reminds us of the highway between Dallas and Fort Worth. No curves. Which brings us to our opening gambit in the Tommy Metz Memorial Opening Thoughts segment. And with that, I say, Steve, my good man, let me ask you straight. When the knife went in and the room stayed locked, were you leaning forward saying, I like the cut of this mistress jib? Or were you already muttering, son, this film's running a little fast for the load it's a carrying? I'll stop.
I like myself a locked room mystery, and I like what Rian Johnson has done with each of these films. And I realized he's not only telling a great mystery, but he's also commenting on American culture very strongly in a way that fits so well into the story. He weaves everything together. So I love a good mystery. I love a good social commentary. And I can't believe this movie's 2.5 hours because it just went, and I was all on board and loved every second of it. And as a man of faith, I thought there were some amazing things he was doing, commenting on religion as well, that just really hit home as well. So all aboard for this one. It was, you wake up for this one. It's going to wake you up. No sleeping through this one.
Outstanding. All right, Mandy.
I beg to differ. I fell asleep with 15 minutes left last night, and I had to watch it right when I woke up. You guys, I go to bed very early, and it's a long movie. That is
Why
not
did
a
you
comment.
start the movie so late?
Pete, I have other things to do. I didn't fall asleep because I wasn't enjoying the movie. I just fell asleep because I was so tired.
Okay.
And of the 3 Knives Out, this was my least favorite, but I still liked it. I think Rian Johnson is like a giant fun hug from your favorite friend. And I just, the minute it started, I felt like, yes, I'm back in good hands with a fun mystery and fantastic actors. Almost entirely British, doing phenomenal American accents, and that's one of my favorite things. So, British or of those countries. I can't remember where my boyfriend Daryl McCormick is from.
Okay, well, we put research on that. Tommy, it's your segment.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Tommy. I am a huge fan of the Rian Johnson Knives Out mysteries. And I actually was able to see, because of where I live, I was able to see this in the theaters. It was showing at a Lemley. It was showing just in one theater, like 2 times a week, clearly just for Academy accreditation. I went with friend of the show, Maddie Simmons. And the only reason I bring that up is for what could be a Clue-ish situation, just a whole bunch of archetypes and characters standing up, and you're really just there for the mystery. It is so cinematic and beautifully shot, beautifully colored, beautifully lit. All the actors are doing really amazing deep work. I do agree with Mandy that it really does drag its feet at the very final act. I thought that it really just sort of kept going and going and going. Not the final act, like the final 20 minutes, probably right when Mandy fell asleep. It just keeps going. That being said, I thought this was outstanding and I loved it. And it's definitely up there with my favorite. I was going to say the top 3. It is. There's only 3. Either way, I thought it was really, really great. Really smart, incredibly acted. I loved it. Loved it. Loved it.
Tommy, I had the benefit of seeing it in the theater as well.
You did? Great.
Yes. Had to rewatch it again this morning just to touch up on some facts and details, but I agree wholeheartedly. And maybe, Mandy, that's why I was riveted, all throughout, because I agree. As a cinematic experience is very, very different. It is very powerful and compelling viewing for me. So
I agree. I was in it from the beginning. I love Benoit Blanc. I think he is such a fantastic addition to the great catalog of movie and literary detectives. Just one of the greats. This movie does something, I think different than the other two. The first two, I think, have such a different take on class that this movie doesn't deal with, right? The other two deal with, first of all, generational wealth, then institutional wealth, and frankly, the Glass Onion was almost a lampoon of so much of that. And both of those movies, I think, had a lot more joy in their murdery escapades. This movie has very little joy. And yet I still found myself on the roller coaster. Was this a tonal gamble by Rian Johnson? And I ask you guys, knowing all of you enjoyed the film, do we think this might make for ultimately a swing and a miss because of the nature of its tone? We don't know. We don't have any sense of how it's going to perform theatrically because Netflix doesn't care. And so it wasn't released in a fashion that's going to let us even make a comparison. But we will, is this franchise something that has strong enough legs to weather Johnson's religious tome?
I think so, because at times it seems like a condemnation of religion. At times it seems like an absolute love letter to religion. And what it comes down to is somewhere right in the middle of use religion as it works for you, that belief in something is important. And however that works, the best for you, however you negotiate that and interpret that is the most important thing. And there's a lot of comfort to be found in that. So I think he really threads the needle extremely well while offering huge swings on both sides, which I like.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, like I said, this just felt right for where America is right now. Glass Onion, I felt, was like a takedown of the tech bros and all of that at that time. And this is really getting into this whole idea of, the quote of when Judd is talking with Cy about, his whole political ambition. He's like, well, maybe you just need to find a different way to connect people. He's like, oh, yeah. So show them something they hate. Tell them it's going to take away something that they love. And like, that is what is driving this country right now. And so let's lean into that. So I think we are in a dark space in this country right now. We need to look at digging into that. And I think it would have felt less genuine if he was going to lean more into the comedy and satire as he did with Glass Onion. I felt like this is something he really needed to take head on because of the weight of the subject matter. I think audiences will be there because you've got a stellar cast delivering really strong performances. To me, just really carries that through. And it doesn't, for me, it did not feel weighty and heavy. It really felt like we're adults, we're tackling some serious stuff, but we're going to do this in an entertaining way.
Yeah.
Benoit Blanc brings that balance to it. Yeah.
Well, I laughed many times, and but I like priest skeletons. But
That's where you laughed.
no, I'm kidding.
Everyone has a kink.
Right? Hey, no shame. But I do think it connects. It is so atmospheric, and you can forget your world for 2+ hours and just go on the ride. And that scene with Cy, Daryl McCormick, moment of silence, I love him so much, is the heart of what Rian Johnson is saying, because he goes on from what you quoted, Steve, about all the machinations of politics and the world we live in now. And I think they were just using the church, although he made wonderful points about religion being both good and bad. The church was the backdrop. The heart of it to me was like, look where we are as society, and we're screwed. And, I grabbed on.
Let's dive into the puzzle. The church as a locked room. It is a performance space for these fantastic people. This is a stacked cast. Let us walk through the mechanics of the mystery. And Steve, you said you just watched it this morning.
Yes.
So you earned the mechanics of the mystery conch.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Godspeed, my friend.
Because I saw it in the theater, I'm not looking at my watch and all that. And as we get that whole first chunk of introducing all the characters on the rewatch this morning, I'm like, how long is it? It's 40 minutes in before Benoit Blanc shows up there getting all the pieces on the table. Because first we get, the whole background on just Jefferson Wicks and his whole family and the history of that church and his grandfather, Prentice Wicks, and who he is. And then the harlot whore daughter, who is Jefferson Wicks' mother, and she is promised this wealth from Prentice, but then it's not there, and she tears up the church and is this just, this evil, whorish woman, right? That's who she's presented, and that's Jefferson's mother. But there's a family treasure that is out there somewhere that she was promised, but now has vanished. And so that sort of sets up the church, like the history of the church, why there's no crucifix up on the wall. We then get in a little bit into Jefferson Wicks of he's just this rogue, priest who's just stewing up anger amongst the crowd. And you can understand where that comes from based on his past, right? There's some trauma in his past. But then we get the town. We get Vera, whose father was a lawyer and friend of Jefferson Wicks. He one day brings home a young boy, Cy, and asks Vera to raise him. Everyone assumes that it's Vera's father's illegitimate child. We then get introduced to the rest of our main characters. We get Nat Sharp, the town doctor, whose wife has left him because she found somebody on a fish message board, which I didn't know was a thing. But he's just wallowing in his grief, and he's now the town drunk. The town drunk doctor is who we've got in Nat Sharp. Then we've got Lee Ross, the sci-fi writer who has escaped away from the city to escape all the liberal wokeism, but has found his ideas have dried up, and he's basically writing his next piece, which is taking in everything that the Jefferson Wick is preaching and giving his response. And he's a little upset. This is a nice joke that plays through in the end, that pretty much all his fans are a bunch of people that dress like John Goodman in The Big Lebowski. And then you get Simone, who is a cellist who is struggling with some chronic pain issues and is disappointed that the medical industry cannot find an answer. And so she's seeking a faith-based answer. Maybe there's someone that can help her find some healing through faith. So we've got all of these people that are sort of invested and tied into Jefferson Wick. They're found some connection. Either your faith is going to heal me, or you're helping turn up this anger towards either my ex-wife or the world. So they just feed into what Jefferson Wick is preaching, and that's really,
and it has the real cult leader vibes. I just want to say, it doesn't feel like a healthy religious community. They are all sycophants at his feet.
Yes, because his main gimmick is on every service he goes for the walkout. Who could I offend and upset so much that I will get them to walk out? Which again reinforces, cements the connection with his loyal following. Leads up to week before Easter, Good Friday. Jefferson's given a very impassioned speech, but he occasionally needs to take a moment to fortify himself, and he'll step down off to the side to a supply closet on this Good Friday. When he does that, drops dead, knife in his back. We've got a murder. We've got nobody that was there. We've got, Judd, who was there on, sort of up on the stage, but not in the room. So we've got ourselves a little locked door mystery. Who could have done it? And that's when Benoit Blanc enters to help sort of figure out what has been going on. And we've got the small town. We've got the little small town sheriff that through some connections brought in Benoit Blanc to help solve this unsolvable mystery that we have.
Did any of you have any connection to the homage material, the book list of classic detective novels?
No.
Only, and then there were none.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I've read.
Okay.
What's the one she holds up at the end and says, "This is great"?
Oh, the Hollow Man?
Hollow Man.
By John, which you're not going to be able to find at any used bookstores anytime soon anymore if it's out there.
Right.
People are going to be snatching that up, I'm sure.
It is
I've not read
available
it.
on Libby. It is The Three Coffins is what you're going to want to look for. It's also available in a compendium of some of that plus some shorts. So it is floating around, and I did do the audiobook, and there's a really interesting middle section, and it's essentially the section Benoit Blanc delivers in the church when he says let's go ahead and check off the list of the ways that we can, solve a murder. And in the books are such an interesting sort of set of bricks that make the tapestry of this movie while not actually telling the story of any of these movies. It is so smart the way this movie creates its own new thing. The way and we'll say it because we haven't said it. Spoiler, please go watch this movie before you listen to anything else. Starting now, the way the movie integrates all of the possible technology that goes into allowing the murder to take place, the technology around the Lazarus door, which is a real thing, but how it integrates into this story. How did you guys feel about the ultimate gambit? Did you feel like it was earned?
I have a thing that I'm sure you've all heard me say on this podcast or others, that casting really affects me deeply. And when I look at a cast, I think, which actor would take this role because they get the big speech at the end and they're the bad guy? So to me, I was banking on it being who it was.
Yeah.
We said spoilers, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Glenn Close is a national treasure and a flawless actress and one of the most beautiful people to stare at on film. And I just thought she wouldn't have taken this role to watch somebody else get the big, "I did it and here's why" speech. So,
right.
So I just assumed it was her all along. I didn't expect the other twists, but
that's the part, right? That's the important thing, because I think just from a casting economy, I think we could probably say I expected it to be Glenn Close the moment I saw her, right? There's nobody else of the caliber of Glenn Close that's going to do it. But was it rewarding? Because so many times, how many mysteries have we talked about where how it's going to end, but the journey to get there was not satisfying. And this one takes some hard left turns. I did not expect the vat of acid. I did not expect her to be so complicit and direct in her activity, and that resolution, I will say, still felt incredibly rewarding to me.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I agree. And the left turns, there was a moment when I was very much considering, Judd, is that the new priest?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did do it.
Yeah.
Because they show it happen. They explain how it does. And then the next thing that he says is, "Why did you do it?" And for a second I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those, we know who did it, like the first Knives
Just
Out.
like
We
the
know
first
who
one.
did it,
Yeah.
and now we're going to have to figure out everything else. And then that is pulled away. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. I did also kind of clock, and so did Maddie, who I saw it with. We both were waiting for Glenn Close to end up being the person. And
Yeah.
part of that was also the one thing that I think Rian Johnson gives away is in Glenn Close's flashback tale of when she's a young girl and she leans over to the harlot and says something. There's
Mhm.
never a reason to cover up someone's mouth when they're saying something, unless you're going to find out later they said something completely different. So I was just waiting from the beginning for that mystery to be figured out. But that is not taking away the huge amount of machinations and other things that I didn't see coming, and the use of the Lazarus door and all of that stuff. It was still really, really earned, really breathtaking.
Well, one of my favorite movies is Apollo 13, and we all know the ending going in.
Mhm.
And you are on the edge of your seat getting to the end. And
Right.
I think this did a good job of keeping us breathless, even though a lot of us thought, I think I know who did it.
Well, I think even the difference between that and Apollo 13 is a lot of us actually knew how they got to the end, right? Like it wasn't a mystery
Mhm.
how they were going to, and it
Right.
was still incredible.
Right.
This movie, I think the real, I think strength of the film is on rewatch, is on being able to go back and see how well it pieces together the stuff that was supposed to be mysterious. And, I think that this is one of those movies that rewards rewatch. It just in thinking through the replacement of Samson and the Monsignor, the way Close interacts with the swapping of the coffee, like all of those things reward a rewatch to see how tightly integrated the actual gambit is to the resolution at the end. So let's talk about Benoit Blanc. It seems like, I think to Steve's point, 40 minutes before we get substantive expressions of Benoit Blanc in this movie. And the structure, as a sidebar to myself, the structure is really interesting because it starts with the narration of this letter, and Benoit Blanc is sitting down to read the letter. My impression was that someone had sent Benoit Blanc this letter, and he was reading it as a way
And
to
that's
get
why
him
he
to
showed
the
up.
case. Yes.
Yeah.
What we
Me too.
find out halfway through the movie is that he assigns Judd to write this letter and sit there in the room with him drinking bourbon while it's happening. And so the narration sort of overlays time that we've already experienced together. That, I think, is the neat sort of trick of this movie. Steve?
Even better in that trick, because as he's writing that, as he wraps it up, he says, so I've spent the past hour doing exactly that, writing the story. I paused. It said about 1 hour into the movie. Exactly. So it is basically sort of like real time what he's written as he's been telling it. You get that sense of this would take about an hour for him to write. We've just experienced about an hour of storytelling. I thought that was just perfect way to do that. But I was surprised as well, looking at the layers of storytelling in this, of, okay, we've got a narrator, he's telling a story. Who's he telling it to? Oh, it's wedged in the story that we're watching. Yes, there's so much of that interweaving of a story being told to someone else throughout.
Right, because functionally that first hour where we mostly don't have Benoit Blanc, what we learn is Benoit Blanc was learning while we were learning all of the details at the exact same time. That's pretty special.
I feel like, and maybe I'm kidding myself, I feel like Rian Johnson is allowed a lot of leeway, and that there aren't a lot of studio execs telling him what to do and what not to do. Maybe I'm crazy, but his way of storytelling is so inventive, and he has these great ideas that I feel like too many cooks would say, well, no, that really breaks a rule. You can't do it that way. Let's have more exposition up the top, or let's do it this way. And he doesn't do that. He writes really smart. And it's fun to think that, maybe I'm just bitter in Hollywood here, but that the execs aren't dumbing him down at all in these three movies.
One of the maybe reasons is because his breakout film, Brick, is like legitimately, it does not pull any punches. It does not help you along. It is a really complicated, twisty, hard to understand movie that then succeeded. And so I would wonder if maybe they were just like, okay, just let him cook.
We don't understand anyway. We don't know.
I've never heard of it.
Brick,
Oh my goodness.
It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and since then, Joseph Gordon-Levitt has been in every single Rian Johnson movie. In this one, apparently, he's the baseball announcer.
Oh, okay.
His voice in Glass Onion, he was the sound of the bong. Yeah, Rian Johnson puts him in every single movie, either as a voice or something.
I would too if I could.
Yeah.
Jogolet.
Okay, so back to Benoit Blanc. How do you characterize Benoit Blanc as a detective in this movie, and his efforts to solve the crime? Because to me, he feels different than the last two movies. Your thoughts?
He seems to be following Judd's lead a lot, I feel. And in the other ones, I felt like he was always one step ahead of everybody. But I liked their dynamic.
There's a key moment that as Judd and Benoit are on the verge of finding out like who ordered the construction equipment to open the crypt and everything, and he's talking with Louise, you got to get on, and there's this sense of like extreme urgency of like we're on the verge of finding out like maybe who did this, and then it shifts when Louise is like, can I talk to you and about my mother? And it's like he goes from being that sort of assistant detective to back to being a priest, and everything shifts. And I think Benoit Blanc sees that. I mean, yes, he's atheist, this, that, but sort of sees this guy is different. This isn't just about solving the mystery. It's about the relationship to people. And for me, that sort of set the tone for the decision he makes much later when he tells everybody like, I don't have the answer to this, and has to hand it off to Martha to tell the story because he doesn't want to basically solve everything in front of her. It's her story to tell. And I think that for me is the payoff to that moment with Louise of him observing Judd's relationship of people needing to own things. Just my interpretation of that.
It is, I think part of it is a reflection. Part of Benoit Blanc's change is a reflection. This is the most humanist of all of the Knives Out movies, that the others are just straight up archetypes with usually 1 to 2 normal people, one as an audience surrogate and one as the hero. And this one has a lot of incredibly broken, fractured, but deeply real people. So it's just interesting that he would, the one Knives Out that is about, you can call it supernatural, you can call it, about faith, about forces beyond humans, is the most human, that he has to really ground it and make it about people instead, which I think is really is a fascinating way to do it.
It's an interesting take on detecting, right? And I go back to Mandy's point, like in the first two movies, he does feel ahead of everybody. And the number of times I think he says, I don't know in this movie is, and then later come out to say, I did know, but I needed you to talk yourself into the truth, I think was really interesting, because you can see that he is subservient to external forces in this movie in a way that he has not been in the other two movies, right? And whether he's just softened as a detective over the years, he's aging, whatever. This seemed very much like a choice, a performative choice for Craig to want to play this in this context a little bit more humanely. And I have that backup. It's just not a clean, isolated recording of her. So,
do you want to just release my track as the episode?
I think it'll be just you.
Do you want me to go back and play Mandy?
Yeah, I do. But you're going to have to change your voice just a little bit. It'll be great.
Hi, it's me, Mandy.
Is that good?
Okay. Meanwhile, back at the church, can we talk about, I texted Tom. I maybe have made the mistake of texting Tom Friday night, and I said, Tom, oh my God, the light. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. And it felt so authentic to me that I actually convinced myself that it seemed so intentional to me that I convinced myself that Johnson was recording with natural light, because the light would go dark, cool blue as if clouds were passing over our heads, and then suddenly, boom, sunbeams would come through these beautiful windows. The way they used light in this movie was extraordinary, and I think much more intentional than I had given it credit for in my early aspirations that this was shot on a Canon 5D.
Yeah.
And just one guy in a church. Your thoughts?
I was blown away at first because my first instinct was, oops, because you never see that in movies. That's a mistake of when the light shifts like that. But then I think it was definitely intentional, definitely a closed set. I mean, especially because there's coverage.
Yeah.
Like you can't, there's cutaways to 900 people every single scene. And so you can't leave that up. But also I think that he did it as a mood changer, but also I think to make the sunbeam hitting when certain revelations happen not feel hacky. Like it was a part of the world. If a sunbeam had just sort of happened for the first time when everything, then you just be like, oh, I get it, God, or whatever, it would feel like a gimmick. This just felt like a real world thing. But I don't remember ever seeing shifts like that over a scene in one shot. Sure.
Yeah.
Because you can't control things. But I mean, I just thought it was incredibly well done.
I think you're right. The last one is the one where we're looking up at Benoit Blanc in the church. And I think the line, I didn't watch it this morning, but I think that's the line where he says, I can't solve this. And we get a bright, bright beam coming in over his head. And it's beautiful because at the same time, the light is telling us, oh, he actually does know what happened. At least for me, he does know what happened, but he's feigning ignorance.
For
Steve,
a good reason, for a righteous reason.
Right.
She has to admit it on her own, or else she won't be able to receive forgiveness.
Yes. Steve, you're nodding along the whole time.
Oh, those are the things that make me love this movie so much. There is so much that goes on that to pay attention to what's on the screen or in the background, whether it's the light change or as they're talking later on when they're talking to Cy, trying to find Eve's apple, and you can see over their shoulders behind them the little case that has got the little Jesus figurine in it, and they're like, oh no, we've never seen it, as they both sort of lean to hide it, because I'm looking, I was like, oh my gosh, it's right there. He just plays with those little things. You've got to be paying attention to everything in the frame because everything is there for a reason. Yeah, Pete, you're spot on. I noticed it once of like, oh, there's, as the character's talking, as their monologue or their speech, it starts at one point and they realize something or have a shift of thought or understanding, that the lighting behind them changes. It to be reflective of that is very intentional, very powerful, but not distracting. And yes, to Tommy's point, doesn't feel hacky. It just felt very authentic. And I think, again, it's because of when you've got a story that has sort of supernatural overtones to it, it feels real, that there's the mysterious out there. If we can be in a story where somebody walks out of a crypt and for a second we're thinking, the guy was dead. We saw the fleshy blob flipped over. We know he's dead, stiff as a corpse, walking out of there and thinking, is that possible? What is going on in this story? For a second, there's got to be some other explanation. But right now, this feels like this could happen here. Makes sense. And that's a magical balance to achieve.
The idea of putting everything in the frame, that's a thrilling thing that Rian Johnson does, is he really does give you a ton of keys to the kingdom. No. Keys to the lock, whatever, a bunch of clues in frame, and he almost like throwing it in your face with that picture when he's looking at the picture of the bar that he takes it like this. I mean, you would need a freeze frame to figure it out, but he's showing you. You can
again
see
and again and again and again and again,
and you can see the container by the door, and you can hear the thing that he's drinking out of. When he falls over, you can hear the clank. Someone even says that clank when he falls over. I mean, he's giving it to you, and you can see it. He did a lot of that in Glass Onion too. I think that's when he got really into that, as you can see tons of stuff, but he just knows how to hide it in certain corners of the frame. But then he can go back and see, look, and so it doesn't feel like a Scooby-Doo. Oh, well, like it turned out it was the caretaker who we never met. Like it's all there for you, which makes it so satisfying.
It's the information that he gives us in one context. When Judd, sort of interrupts the meeting that Wick is having with his faithful following, and he throws the book at him to get out. We see that scene later on, so we think, based on the bit of dialogue we hear, it's this type of meaning. But once we get it recontextualized, those exact same lines have a completely different meaning. He does that so many times. There'd be information that's just noise, or we assume one thing, and I'm going to show it to you the same but different. Right. And that's the cleverness of his storytelling, in my opinion, because he doesn't have to pull something out from under us of like, that really wasn't that way, or here's the thing, yes, the caretaker that we never really knew about. Because even early on, looking at Samson, I'm like, okay, he sort of looks like, he's got a sort of similar look with the gray hair and the beard and goatee. It's like, these guys sort of similar. It's like, they have a strong connection. This priest saved his life from alcohol. Maybe he's sort of, modeling this guy's look. Okay. Well, that's going to play into the story in a very important way.
Running down the cast, we should probably start with Wicks. And I feel like just thinking about Wicks and the nature of this crime, the fact that they're looking for Eve's apple, which is this incredibly valuable $80 million jewel. This movie really still is about generational wealth. It's just generational wealth in the hands of a priest. So Rian Johnson hasn't really lost all of his need to comment. So we start with Josh Brolin, Thanos himself, as Monsignor Jefferson Wicks. He sits down to offer his first confession to Judd Duplessis and starts talking about all the times he's masturbated in the last 6 weeks. I was blown away. I thought that was some of the most powerful, power move writing that I've seen in a long time.
And then to be revealed that it's not true, that he's just doing it to torture the other guy is, I mean, Josh Brolin is just thrilling. I mean, between this and Weapons, he is one of the most watchable, fiercely entertaining actors I think we have right now. He's in the middle of a moment. Yeah, he really is.
Right. He's done a lot of stuff, but his last 10 years has been really extraordinary.
Brolinisance. Right.
It's a Brolinis. Tom. Sometimes you swing for the fences and you hit it out of the park. Yep. I'm just going to use your track for this whole thing.
Okay.
Incredible. So he plays Jefferson Wicks. He definitely leans in on the power of hate and rage as a uniting force in those who are in some way broken in this church. Since we're talking about the church, and Steve, you opened with characterizing yourself as a man of faith. Did you get any Easter eggs in this film that I would have missed?
No, really? Other than I think he's really setting up the two contrasts of the guy who thinks maybe the religious leader who could parlay that into political power of in 4 years he could be president, versus the guy who's going to do the uncomfortable things of I'm going to try to fight every human urge I have. And even when pushed into a corner and kicked and everything, is okay, I'm not going to attack because it's not about fists up, it's about open arms. And all throughout that, he's always willing to do that. So I don't know that there's an Easter egg. I think it's just really strong contrast between two perspectives that are battling themselves right now of no, it's about strength and power. No, it's about people and reaching out to them and saving them.
Well, because so much of this is about look at what you've done, Monsignor Wicks. Your style is contributing directly to the cultural fabric of the decline of attendance in church. And that's a huge thread in this film, is people aren't coming to church right now anymore.
Yeah, and it's set up with Judd just at the very beginning when he punches out the one guy, and it's like, and he has that speech at the beginning of like, hey, it's if we're here to fight wolves, then pretty soon everybody we don't understand is a wolf, and we're fighting the world, and that's not what it's about. I think that just really gave us that sort of critical key component to what motivates him from the get-go. Because I thought about that. I was like, why do we start here with him? But it is an essential component of his character to really do that. I mean, it gets us the setup of like, why is he assigned there? But it's also giving us that critical character piece that continues to drive him all the way through to even to his final decision at the end, which I love what he does, because I'm like, okay, if power and money and all this corrupts and can pull people astray and making the wrong decisions, what is he going to do with it? And he makes the perfect decision with it.
You're talking about Judd right now, right?
Judd's decision of like, it's going to be here. And it's like, I mean, you could read it symbolically of like, I'm giving this up to God. It's not mine anymore. And it's going to be there. So no, I think it's just the consistency of his character and a bold choice for Rian Johnson to make with a character at this point.
And the Jesus on that cross looked like he was straight out of 28 Years Later. Like that was a rough Jesus carving. Not handsome fashion Jesus. Jeremy Renner, we've talked a little bit about Jeremy Renner as Nat Sharp. It was fun to see Jeremy Renner not being Hawkeye or the mayor of whatever he is. Tough guy, police officer. It's neat to see him play a smaller character and watch his range. I think he's a really talented guy, and it was fun to see him. Any love for Renner?
Absolutely, and especially because of what he's gone through in his personal health life.
Yes,
it's great to see him.
Yeah, attacked by a combine, right? He was attacked by the other one that stood out for me a little bit, because I went into this movie wondering if she was going to be able to pull it off. That is Chief Geraldine Scott, played by Mila Kunis. I think she actually did a really, really good job. You did not. I
think she was the most fine in a group of absolute powerhouses. Yeah. She's also playing like from the first Knives Out, the Lakeith Stanfield role of I'm the normal one. So I'm sort of the audience surrogate. She has the least to do. And so maybe I'm reacting to the fact that she was just sort of very even keeled as less of a thing because everyone else got to chew scenery. So maybe I take that back. I think she did fine, but there was nothing that elevated what was a very sort of normal performance for me.
I think we're probably saying the same thing. And the reason I'm so enthusiastic about it is because I expected her to take me right out of the movie.
I see. She did not. Absolutely
she did not.
No. She was fine.
She really did not. I think she is one of those actors who doesn't appear to age. And so it's hard for me to see anything that she's in and not think that 70s show. And so
she does seem to be playing dress up sometimes because she just
sometimes
she's still oh, you're playing a little police officer.
It was like, did you really find? How did you find a uniform that fits a child? Like, was that a Spirit Halloween?
Yeah.
But I think she was really good, and I like the comparison to Lakeith Stanfield. Although I think Lakeith Stanfielded Mila Kunising in this movie. I found him more charismatic and more interesting to watch. Anybody else that jumps out at you? Nobody has mentioned the name Thomas Hayden Church.
The priest, Jack. What's his name?
Josh O'Connor.
Josh O'Connor.
Fantastic.
He's so good. I mean, I feel like the first time I ever saw him was just Challengers. I feel like I've seen him in 2 movies, and I've been completely in love with him ever since. I think he's outstanding. So watchable, so neat. You believe that he could be a boxer and also the sweetest guy in the entire world. I thought he was great.
Yeah, for sure. That's funny. You're absolutely right. And he's got 38 credits on IMDb.
Yeah, for me, he came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Fantastic. No, this will be. I think this movie will get some traction. I think it's going to be something that, again, following up on Challenge. I think this is a name we're going to start seeing him and stuff because he alongside Benoit Blanc that he's got to carry this movie because it's the two of them as a duo versus like a Glass Onion where we've got Daniel Craig having to run around and do all this. It's really the two of them. So I think Josh O'Connor is really a unexpected standout from this because I have not seen Challengers, did not know this guy. I think the one thing I had seen with him is he'd done a Letterboxd thing of like top 4 films, and he had mentioned Ratatouille, and then people were commenting he looks just like the chef guy from Ratatouille. It will be perfect for a live action Ratatouille remake if Disney's going to do that. But yeah, I think that's the one that really stands because everybody's really solid. And for somebody that I didn't recognize to carry that weight and stand alongside, Daniel Craig, Josh Brolin, Glenn Close as just amazing.
The other face that jumped out at me was Kaylee Spaney, who we have talked about on this show in Romulus.
Yes.
Alien Romulus. And she was also fantastic and it's interesting to see her out of context because I only expect to see her fighting aliens and flying around in spaceships. And
I think of her more from Civil War.
Civil War? Yeah.
Oh, right. She was in Civil War. That's true.
She seemed, whereas in I don't know, there's even something about Alien Romulus where she seemed younger. This would seem more like, no, I'm an adult, not a like young 20s, that 20s, early 20s, late teenager piece. This felt like, oh, no, I'm playing in the room with the adults now.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was pleasantly surprised to see her there tackling something a little bit different. And she's been a lot of different things. Always, felt really solid about her performances.
Yeah. 19 credits. She's fantastic.
Tommy mentioned that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in all of the movies as well. There is one other actor as well who always has these little small cameos. In this one, he was the bartender Nikolai, and that's Noah Segan. He was also the dude that just kept walking through the scenes in Glass Onion. He was the other detective in Knives Out, and he was back there in Brick. He was the heavy, the muscle in Brick. So he's another one that I'm always looking to see where. Yes, he was Tug. So he's always there. I'm always like, where's he going to show up in this one? So I was happy to see him showing up as the owner of the bar there, Il Diavolo.
Well, I'll tell you, I feel like this movie offers us a new sort of evolution of Benoit Blanc. He's sort of less showman, more listener. Gives us a gritty, grimy location to prove that this kind of story has a lot of versatility. It doesn't always have to be in some grand state of wealth and industrial prestige. It works. He works as a small town detective hero too, and I'll say it again. I hope we get more. I really, really hope we get more. I think we're done. Are we done? Do we have anything else to talk about? Does that mean
I think we're good.
I think we need to talk about Letterboxd. Letterboxd.com/thenextreel. That's where you can find all of the reviews and the stars and the hearts, where we apportion all those stars and hearts to the movies that we've watched on the Next Reel family of film podcasts. As you know, the rules firmly dictate that if you give a movie a star, you have to take it in someplace else. Nobody abides by those rules. And I will begin by calling on Tom.
Finest Hours has no more stars to give, my friend. A Train Can't Undress a Boy. That was a different movie. Anyways, yes, I think this movie was outstanding, and it doesn't rest on anything. Like, it doesn't have to be so grandly shot, and it is. It doesn't have to be so intelligently lit, and it is. The acting, everyone just shows up and is a masterclass. So for me, it's between a 4 and a 4.5. I think. What? What's wrong with that?
I mean, it's okay to not have full stars, but then it'd be like, well, it's going to be a fraction of a fraction.
I'll say 4. I'll say 4.5. I'll give it that. Okay. 4.5 and a heart. Deal.
Okay. Steve, what do you got?
I am knew I loved this movie after a first watch. It holds up really solidly as a second watch, and so it's going to sit right there in that 4.5. It is just really a true pleasure, a true joy to watch.
Well, as usual, I'll say this. Mandy has texted us with her review. She's a 3.5 and a heart.
Okay.
But she's not here to defend it. And so we will have to litigate that later. I will be the grand enthusiast of this thing. I don't know where the stars fall. I really don't at 4.5. I feel like once I'm there, I'm all the way in. This was a fantastic movie. I think it succeeds exuberantly in what it is attempting to do. And it just further cements Rian Johnson as one of my very favorite creators in Hollywood today, right now. Period. 5 stars and a heart.
Wow!
I'd see it again. It was better than Cats. That's what we've got, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out for us. Thank you for your time and your attention, whether you agreed, disagreed, or just came here to shout at your phones. We appreciate you. Don't forget to join the conversation over at Discord at truestory.fm/Discord. And if you really love what we do, if you hang out here month after month, please become a supporting member at truestory.fm/join for all the exclusive perks. That's all we got. Next month, what are we doing, Steve?
We are going to be adventuring into space to other planets to take on blue bodies in Avatar Fire and Ash. Ash and Fire. Fiery Ash.
I am already bluing up. I can't wait.
Yes.
I can't wait. I know you're as excited. I can't.
I absolutely can wait, and I will see it.
I can wait as well, but it is right up there of yes, have to see it. It's Yes, I know what I will probably get, but it is such a gorgeous experience to have.
I'm actually excited. I need to rewatch the first 2, and now I'll be doing it in the headset. And the headset experience is full 3D, full immersive, and I'm very excited for that. So
that's a whole day journey. You just put in the adult diapers and just sit there and go for the 8 hours or whatever it's going to take you.
Yeah.
Tie your dog to your hair
for headset users.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Next month is Avatar. Good luck, everybody, and wish us luck. We'll need it. Until then, meeting adjourned.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Deaf Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production Podcast Network. We hope to see you online.